What is happening, everyone? It is Bitter Online, and Valorant have just released the patch 0.49, and I'm going to go through it with you, and we're just going to break down what this means for Valorant, and what we've got a lot to look forward to in this patch. It seems like they've taken a lot of the community's advice on board on this, and I'm pretty excited to what's to come. So this is the Valorant closed beta patch notes. Now I want to skip into the main bit here. So gameplay and balance. So the first one and the two main changes to champions are the Omen agent and the Sage agent. So Omen now immediately becomes vulnerable and no longer appears dark after he leaves his alternate shadow form. If you were to find an enemy, Omen teleporting in, it was often confusing when you should shoot him to get the kill, i.e. sending him back. This change is both for the account and invulnerability bug, and to score some extra points for clarity. Now, the other one that they've done is the radius of the arrival of the sound from Omen when the shadow has been reduced to 2250, which is basically they've just reduced the sound radius for when he actually uses his shadow. So basically another change that they've done here, they've used some like big words, but all it means is that you have to be closer to him in order to find out where he's teleporting to or hear where he's teleporting to, which is definitely good because quite a few bugs I found surrounded Omen, and I don't really like him as an agent in the game. I just don't know why. He's got a lot of bug issues. I feel like he can get out of every map. So the one that I'm most interested in here is Sage. Now, Sage has a barrier orb, which will only spawn a chunk of the barrier if it is supported by the ground. This means it will sometimes only spawn 2 barrier chunks. Now, barrier orb can no longer be placed on a small piece of geometry. It must be placed on the ground or on top of boxes. We love supporting boost gameplay, especially when multiple characters combine their abilities, for example, Jet and Omen. However, we felt like the current placement requirements characters were able to boost to too many unintended spots. With this change, players can still boost into some unexpected positions, but they will hopefully won't be 6 feet in the sky and floating in the middle of the site to look through a tiny peephole in the map. This was a really common issue on the map Heaven. Basically, for example, Sage could barrier boost, I believe it was Jet, up into look at the peak of B, into the B mid. So there were loads of issues with it, and there were loads of issues that I was exploiting myself in games. So it's a definite update that was needed. Now, there are some mini updates here. We've got update to Breach's visuals and Omen's visuals. Now, basically, their field of view became greater than everyone else's field of view using certain abilities, which is why that needed to be fixed as soon as possible and cut that straight out. So let's look at some map updates here. So they've added curtains to the top of the double doors on Heaven to remove the Sage barrier orb. And basically it was a boost where players could see through a little bit of silver at the top of the doors. And they've also fixed an issue of Cypher's camera being placed on Heaven A main boxes, which, in case you didn't know, you couldn't shoot it. It became kind of invulnerable, which is an issue they had to fix. And then they've multiple fixes to the geometry on Haven, Bind, and Split to fix exploits and help optimize gameplay. Massive thanks to all the folks who helped identify these. We see you. They've updated materials on Bind and Haven to make the surfaces more consistent overall, and they've changed the color of the radiant crates in order to unify overall visuals. So basically, tiny little fixes which just make the overall feel of the game really clean, really smooth, which is what we want as a community. Now, competitive updates, this is where I'm excited. Added competitive mode and rank matchmaking to go live in the near future. So basically, they've also put a tweet out, which I'll put up on screen now. And it basically just says that once this update is stable, then they're going to release the rank mode and rank play, which is really exciting for everyone who's been in the beta. It's definitely something that's been missing. I've been pretty bored myself without all of that, so I'm glad that's been a new addition. Now, we're just going to look at this as well. So they've added observer mode, added ghost cheat as an option to custom games with cheats enabled, allowing you to fly around the map with no clip mode, which basically is really good for editors and getting some really nice cinematics and different points of view of your montages. Ability HUD no longer displays when entering drone cameras. It was just a really horrible little UI issue that I really didn't like with the HUD. Exiting drone cameras when I'll snap back to the most recently viewed player if it's a valid target, and then swapping through players to view irritate through an entire team before going to players on the opposite team. So they're just tiny issues that I think are definitely needed. But some of the biggest ones that I feel are added here in this update are the HUD and UI. So in-game, new directional damage indicator for visuals, which is really good. New low health and low ammo visuals. Remove character portrait from the player's minimap icon to better distinguish player icons. Icon will receive additional colour to polish in the future, which is really good because the map did get so confusing at times. Voice activity is now shown above allies' heads, which again is good because you don't actually have... They should show their name when they speak above the player. It just makes it so much easier when you're randomly playing in a pub match. Added colour to spike icon, which is a lot better than the yellow, I want to add, because it was just a horrible visual on the map. Fix the ultimate ability icon on teammates' head shown as changed after gaining 1 ult point instead of when actually charged, which is really good. And then pinging elements now fade, whereas before they'd stay there, and it was super annoying. And then out of the game, they've just relocated some of the buttons, such as finding match, practice buttons, and they've just made loads of different adjustments. Now, one of the best part of this is the quality of life adjustments, which is basically you can now abandon or just quit your custom matchmaking instead of getting penalized for a custom match where you'd be the only player and you'd have to see it through. And it was just such a broken issue of the game, and it stopped me wanting to practice in offline mode basically. So I'm glad they fixed that. Now they updated the audio occlusion system. Basically you can help, because some of the sound was really messed up, particularly on split where you have ABC, ABC. And then players who abandon games, dodge, selects will now experience penalties. This is a system that's in Counter-Strike and League of Legends, and you can get penalised for 7 days or permabanned, which is definitely include that. No more AFK. And then they've just done basically really nice little widget cleanups in the UI, in the game. Just really, really nice little updates, to be honest. And now some bug fixes. So I don't want to go into this in too detail because they're really long. But basically the game client, they've put some purchase issues in. You can now it's just more seamless for you as an experience of the beta. And they've also fixed Phoenix, Viper and Cypher. Cypher's cage, for example. Viper being able to, the animation cancel the Viper's pit. And just some major bug fixes with Phoenix. So they fixed a bug where she would get teleported back to a rope ladder after respawning. I've not experienced some of these bugs, but obviously there are issues in the game that they fixed. So that is a breakdown of all of the patch notes. Now, I think these patch notes are really cool. I think that the update on this particular patch, 0.49, is really needed. I think that as a community, there's been so many issues. At points, it's been pretty unplayable, and I think this is going to fix a lot of issues. So I hope you found this video useful. If you do, hit subscribe, like the video, and comment which is your favourite update in this current patch, and what you think the meta is going to be in the current update. Also put what rank you guys are hoping you're going to get. Valorant being the highest one, obviously bronze, silver, all the way up to it. I'm hoping that I can get at least gold or plat. I just don't want to get hard stuck in silver and bronze like every other game. Anyway, it has been Bitter Online. I hope you're all staying safe. Much love everyone, and peace.